Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening. Welcome to Focus on Albany. I'm Cynthia Pooler, and my guest today is Helena Heath. Helena, are you on yet?
Hello, this is Helena Heath. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Helena. We're on the air, so you're running for City Court Judge, and you're running for re-election. So
yes.
Tell our listeners, about your campaign.
Yes, and thank you. I appreciate your call this evening, your invitation for me to join this program, and I am pleased to be running for re-election for a job that I've spent 12 years working and serving the public. I've had an opportunity to be a lawyer for about 29 years now, and I've always only worked in state government, the three branches of government, starting my career at our state's highest court, the New York Court of Appeals, as a clerk. And what my passion was to become a lawyer was to initially certainly to see it as a role of being an advocate, being able to have a voice for others who are underrepresented in our society, both in terms of whether they be children or whether it be groups of individuals who have found themselves not feeling that they were getting a fair shake in the society and certainly not in the court system. And then when you think about what I'm doing now as a city court judge, it has such an impact on people's lives to be able to treat a person with fairness and respect who comes before the court for anything from a traffic violation matter to a criminal misdemeanor to a small claims where they don't have an attorney representing them and they have to try to get some money back from someone they believe improperly took their money, didn't return it, didn't do a service. So city court judge work is a culmination of my almost 3 decades of being in the public sector, legal profession, and now my opportunity to continue serving in this role is now what this re-election campaign is all about.
So how long is your term for?
This will be for a 10-year term, the full-time position. I had a position initially that was 6 years, and I served 2 6-year terms for a total of 12 years, coming to an end this year, the second 6-year term. When the law changed, since there's 5 city court judges in the Albany City Court, there's 5 of us. There was an opportunity for the legislature to create a full-time for the position I was in. It initially was only half-time. And over 3 years ago, when the law went into effect to make my position full-time, the law provided that you did not have to run again until your term was up. So now, just like a county court judge, a family court judge, a surrogate judge, those terms are all 10-year terms, including full-time city court judge.
So you've served 12 years so far.
Yes.
What would you say was the most interesting thing that came before you as you were sitting on the bench?
I think one of the most interesting things, and it may be probably likely not just one case, although when it happened the first time I really felt the impact, but an individual who has been wronged. Somebody has, in a civil matter, somebody who has had the experience of not getting a certain service done properly in a case where it impacts their home life. They have something that's going on in their home, whether it is a landlord-tenant relationship, whether it is a contractor who is supposed to take care of fixing or renovating something in your home, and to have the opportunity to see people come before you that, as a judge, who did not have the benefit of counsel and wanted to make sure that they could undo something that was done to them that was not proper. And so I guess there's that type of case, and there was a situation where there was a contractor who did really did a horrible job and didn't complete the job and took a lot of money, up to $5,000 from an individual. And to be able to see that person prove their case as a plaintiff and say, this is what happened and I was wronged, and they wanted the court to help make it right. That's one context. The other thing is a landlord who shut off the heat in the middle of the winter, which I didn't see but one time in my whole 12-year career, because they wanted the tenants to leave, and he was not willing to wait for the week that the court had given for any eviction to take place. And the family had a young baby and a toddler, and it just seemed to be one of the most egregious cases that I've ever seen. And I felt that I had to award what we call treble damages, where you award 3 times what the cost of the, staying in the hotel and all these other expenses, buying electrical heaters, and it was a very, very sad case. But that's not usually the extreme that I see in landlord-tenant matters. And I do see cases involving relationships that have broken up, marriages or boyfriend-girlfriend relationships where people are supposed to split the household bills, and they don't square up with what they're supposed to do when they have a breakup. Someone stops paying one aspect of the bill, and someone gets saddled with more money than they can afford. I mean, I guess my answer to your question, Cynthia, is that I see a lot of everyday issues that, one level or another, since it's so impactful for that person, it's a significant case to so many of the people that come before city court. It is an amazing court to be able to have the opportunity to, what I call, right the wrongs and mediate things. People sometimes are not that far off from reaching their own settlement, and I have a mediation role in a way when I do the civil part of the court. And then we hold people accountable for when they do criminal activities, when they do traffic violations, which is unfortunately too often of a caseload in Albany City. There's plenty of people who come before the court for driving too fast, driving unsafely, not stopping at stop signs, running red lights. I mean, that's kind of an endless caseload. And I try to take the approach of being more of an educator at the time, especially with a younger driver. We might require them to attend a driver education course as part of the resolution that the prosecutor proposes, and I accept. So that's really the kind of a variety of the cases that I handle, and it all seems to be coming back to the main thing I always talk about, is appreciating how much of my decisions impact the quality of life in this city and impact an individual's own individual life, their personal affairs.
So how many city court judges are there in Albany?
It is a total of 5. There are 5 judges, and this race is coming about due to my reelection year as one of the 5 judges that have been there for 12 years. There's only one of the judges been there about a year longer than I have. Last year we had a new judge elected to the bench, and this year we have 2 appointed judges that filled vacancies, and they're running for election this year for their first time to be elected. And, of course, as you know, it's led to 3 judge positions up for election, mine being, of course, re-election, and 7 people vying for those 3 spots.
Now, you have there's quite a few women running for judge. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you bringing it up for a couple of reasons. I think just in terms of the pure number, it is 4 women candidates out of the 7. And in terms of the work that I've done over the years in learning and researching and reading reports done by bar associations, Albany is one of the counties that sits within the 3rd Judicial District, as it's called, and 3rd Judicial Department, actually, which consists of 28 counties, mainly upstate, including Albany, upstate counties. And we have, of the 4 sections of the state that are divided into these 4 departments, judicial departments, the 3rd department is lacking behind the other 3 in the number of women. I think it's about a 22%, 21% percentage of women in the state court, of the state court judges, not talking about the federal bench. The numbers are not ideal at all for women as judges in this particular area of the state. There is, unfortunately, not just because I think that there's not there may not be a critical mass of women lawyers as much as a New York City area, as there is a New York City area, but there certainly is sufficient number of women, qualified, competent women lawyers that certainly could be looked at, identified, and selected from to be judges, but that has not been the way that the opportunities have played out, there have been, unfortunately, not enough opportunities extended either through the party, political system, and the work I do, quite frankly, with the bar associations is to plant those seeds with individuals, women and people of color who might not normally find themselves putting themselves out there to be considered for those positions. You have to put yourself out there to it takes a lot of work, as you know, Cynthia, and I think it's a combination, therefore, of how do we reach out to people and have them, how do we expand the pipeline, as I would call it. So this happens, I'm glad you asked me the question, because it happens to be an area of work in terms of my community service work that I've done a lot of work in terms of trying to expand the pipeline for women and people of color in the legal profession.
Now, this will be your third time running for this position.
Correct.
Have you faced primaries before?
I have. I was appointed in the first time there was a vacancy because someone retired, and as an appointee judge at the time, appointed judge, my first time to run for election that same year that I got appointed in 2005, I did have a one-on-one primary. Someone challenged me. I did well in the Democratic primary. I think it was, I remember feeling somewhat of comfortable enough margin, but a very trying race because it was my first election, and I wasn't sure, certainly, if at that point, being on the bench, not that many months, not a full year, and just the concerns one has about how will this work out, will I have enough support, enough name recognition. 6 years later, I had a one-on-one primary again. I think there I felt a little bit more comfortable having been then a judge 6 years, but certainly, again, as is a good idea, I think, across the board, never to take anything for granted in anything you pursue in a competitive race, certainly, in a competition, such as an election. And I worked very hard and felt that each year you serve as a judge, people come to know your work more and more, and fortunately, I think the impression of what I do is one of high caliber competency, professionalism, fairness, and treating people with respect. And that goes a long way when the voter not only gets to read your material that comes in the mail or comes across social media, but they actually have met you in the context of seeing you perform your job. So the more years you have under your belt, I think the better it is to have the opportunity for people to think or to know your work well firsthand and to think well of it. And now, likewise, it's now my third time, and this is not a one-on-one primary. It's a very unusual primary to have this many people in a race for 3 positions, 7 people. But it is, again, my hope that my record will serve me well, and people, certainly after 12 years now of being on the bench, they know of me, my work. A large number of people in the city of Albany have connected with me through community service work I've done. So it is a different type of primary, but it is my third one. It is each time I've run, I've had a primary. So I do walk a lot in the summertime, and what is the expression? I've worn off a little bit of shoe leather for sure every time that I've run for office.
Now, a lot of people who will be voting on September 12th have been focusing on the mayor's race and to a lesser degree on the common council races. Explain why you believe city court judge is just as important as the other races that are being up for grabs.
That's an excellent question. I think this is a time in our society in particular where voters should be very conscientious of the fact that any local official, whatever the role might be, whether it's the executive, the legislative branch of government, or the judiciary, absolutely has a tremendous impact in the day-to-day life of the resident in this city. A judge, whether it be one that carries out anything from the very positive aspects of judging in terms of officiating a wedding, serving in a position to sign orders that can help bring families closure in certain issues. It could be anything from the family court judges to the judges in this court that impact the quality of life so much, How are we dealing with our criminal justice system? Are we making sure there are some programs for low-level offenders so that they don't become there's not a revolving door, and there isn't that increase of crime because the individual was treated one way and never got the attention to the underlying problem, which could be a drug addiction. It could be coming back from serving in the military, and there's a special veteran track court part that the city court has set up over the years. I don't preside over that particular part, but knowing about the different parts of the court and the work of the court. There's a DWI part that I helped implement a few years ago, a chief judge initiative, and I was asked to implement it on June 1st, 2014. And it has a treatment aspect of it, which is needed because, again, it's about the awareness and making a mistake. If you're fortunate not to have killed anybody through a DWI intoxication incident, you may very well have gotten yourself in trouble in terms of the criminal justice sanctions, but you can walk away from that learning from it and not repeating it where it can become potentially deadly. You can kill people, obviously, in those incidents involving people driving while intoxicated or whether it be by alcohol or drugs. So, there's the individuals who you want to be in these positions who have the kind of judgment, the life experiences, the vision to see the court as an integral part of our society, because that's where so many problems land. Whether it's a neighbor dispute over a property line or someone, again, providing a service you paid your hard-earned money for that you don't find you're getting the service, or the person that does work in the community as a vendor, as a contractor, and should get paid for their work, and they need redress when someone stiffs the person on the bill. So it is a quality of life, and it's issues that we deal with as judges of the city court, and it's certainly in the first instance in the trenches for the most part. And those are the kind of positions, in addition to the mayor and the common council person who is going to make decisions on legislation and policy that affects quality of life, so does a judge. They follow the law, they implement the law, but they have their discretion in trying to say, how can we best deal with issues that affect the quality of life of our city? It's a very, very important, integral role of our society, and everybody who's a voter needs to certainly make sure they're prepared to make the choices based on all those factors about who are they voting for, what is the record, does the person have the type of values that you think you can relate to and feel that are important values to serve as a public. I call myself a public servant. That's what I am, and that's what I'm dedicated to being for over 30 years now, through even my community service work that I've done since high school.
Now, there's less than 2 weeks to go before the primary, so I'm sure you can still use a lot of help. If somebody wants to walk with you, make phone calls, donate to your campaign, how can they reach you, Helena?
Very, very, thank you. Very, very, is very, very important and very, very much appreciated, the opportunity for people to join in and to support my campaign in all the ways you mentioned. There is a website. It has a wonderful Get Involved button. There is an opportunity to plug right into social media from there as well. It's www.judge, and I pronounce my name Helena, but it's okay, spelled the same way. It's pronounced different ways, Helena. So it's Judge Helena 2017.com. It would be at Judge Helena 2017 for the Facebook, or hashtag Judge Helena 2017 for the Twitter, and that's what we're on, those three mediums. My website's an excellent source. It has a Get Involved button. You click right on it. It has other information that people can plug right in. We have campaign headquarters that there's information about that on the website as well. There's office hours coming up on not the Monday because it'll be a holiday Monday, but it'll be tomorrow, Thursday, and next Tuesday and next Thursday. And we have the GOTV efforts that'll be definitely involving phone banking and literature drops. We're doing, we have some young Democrats helping us. We have some law students helping us. We have some good friends and old friends from the committee, the Democratic committee structure, because I am the endorsed candidate. I have always been endorsed through the three campaigns, and I'm very proud of that and very appreciative of that endorsement. And it is a Judge Helena 2017.com. Get Involved link that you can find your way to offer your assistance. So thank you.
Helena, thank you so much. You've been listening. Do you prefer, I've always called you Helena. It's Helena?
Yes, that's okay, Cynthia. Yes, it is a
sorry.
lifelong problem. That's okay, but issue or actually, I make the joke in court that one of the best parts about becoming a judge 12 years ago is no one mispronounces my name, or not as much anymore. They just say, "Good morning, Judge. How are you, Judge?" And I don't even think
Oh, God.
they don't know my name anymore. I don't think, but they don't seem to mispronounce it as much because they're calling me Judge. But on a serious note, as I also say, I appreciate that an individual, if they meet me and they've come across my work from being before me or knowing of my work, that I'm the kind of person that certainly focuses on the most important aspects of life. A person may mispronounce your name, not out of any disrespect or any intention, bad intentions. The most important thing is when you walk away from meeting someone, do you feel that they've are a person that is true to their word and has a character that you could relate to positively? And I'm been very blessed that I have a lot of experiences in my life where people, I think, connect very positively with me because I really am a focused person on making this community and society a better place. That's been since I'm a little kid, it's just seemed to be what my parents' influence and what they did in the community and how they raised me. It's really been what motivates me in life, and I'm focused on things such as that more so than some of the other more superficial things in life. So I really appreciate, Cynthia, that over the years you've always connected with me positively, and thank you for this opportunity to be on the air with you this evening. It was very enjoyable.
Thank you. You've been listening to Helena Heath, and she's running for City Court Judge. And if you like this show, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, download on your smartphone, subscribe to iTunes. If you have a comment about this show, hashtag Focus on Albany. And don't forget about WCAA 107.3 on your dial. We're in the process of interviewing candidates, and there'll be a mayoral forum soon. So everybody, please tune in. And if you have an interest in radio, come down to 68 Grand Street. We have meetings every Tuesday night. You can just walk in and say, I'm interested, and we will welcome you with open arms. Thanks, Helena, for coming on the show, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Right now, save 50% off everything at Gap Factory and 50 to 70% off everything at Banana Republic Factory. That's right, 50% off or more on everything in stores and online. Save with teas starting at $6.99 and 40% off clearance at Gap Factory stores. And at Banana Republic Factory stores, fabulous tops start at $9.99 and 50% off clearance. Hurry! Search our store locator for your nearest Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory store, or shop us online.
You know what would be fantastic? If you could get your mortgage from a local neighborhood bank and you didn't have to pay any closing costs, and you could save thousands of dollars and use that money for something better, like sprucing up the new home. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Well, you know what? There's a bank for all that. Community Bank. To get started with your loan, stop into any branch or visit communitybankna.com and bank happy. Certain conditions and restrictions apply. Stop in for details. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.